Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. It's Patty from ultraslowrunner.com. In today's video I'd like to talk about overcoming your first DNF. And for those of you who may not know, a DNF stands for did not finish. So whether you are a triathlete or maybe even a swimmer, cyclist, and for me, of course, it's running. For some reason, you were not able to cross the finish line of your event. Now, there's varied reasons why people end up DNFing a race. I think one of the most common is probably due to some injury or illness that was serious enough to prevent somebody from moving forward in their race. And some other reasons, for me especially, I'm usually in the back of the pack of a race, and a lot of ultras or other endurance events often have cutoff times where you need to be at a certain point by a certain time, otherwise you're not allowed to continue and you end up with a DNF. Now that's happened to me a couple of times, and I've also had my other DNFs throughout my years of running. And I will say my first DNF was really hard. It was very disappointing, and I wasn't quite sure. It was an ultra marathon, and I wasn't quite sure whether I even belonged in the sport of ultra marathons, and I questioned kind of my abilities as a runner, and overall I was just really down and frustrated with my performance. But there are other reasons people DNF. Elite runners, they will sometimes DNF if they're not having quite the performance that they were hoping for. Elite runners are typically going for the win or a podium finish, and so throughout the race, if they see that that's not going to be a possibility, they may DNF and kind of save their legs and save their strength for another race. So again, there's so many different reasons people DNF. I do again have 5 tips for you today to help you in that process of a DNF and what comes after that, and kind of that disappointment that you may feel after not being able to finish a race. My first tip is to please do not beat yourself up over a DNF. Like I said, there's a number of reasons to DNF, and it has nothing to do with what type of runner you are, if you're good or bad, or somewhere in between. It just doesn't really say anything about that. A lot of DNFs are something that's going to be out of your control. So just try to be kind to yourself, be patient with yourself, and just try to get that negativity and the disappointment out of your head. Again, it doesn't really have anything to do with your abilities as a runner. My second tip is to really analyze your race and what kinds of things went well, what didn't go so well, what you might change in future events, and maybe you need to adjust your training in some way, and things like that. I tend to stay more on the positive side and what things did go well, and how I would progress forward using those tools that did go well to make my next race a success. So when you're looking at your race, try to focus on the positive things and then see what else you may adjust for your next event. My third tip is to get back to training as soon as possible. Now, if you DNF'd a race due to an injury or an illness, you're probably going to need some time to kind of slowly get back to your training. But for other reasons, you may be able to get back to your training as soon as possible. Now, I understand, again, the disappointment of a DNF may kind of affect your motivation to get outside and get some training in, and I understand that, but again, I think it's very important to start up as soon as you possibly can. It's going to help with your energy levels, it's going to help with your motivation, and I just think it's really important to start your training and continue continue where you left off. I'm not sure how I was trying to say that, but anyway, I do want to, in talking about this, I do want to remind you that even if you didn't finish your race, you may still need some recovery time, because for example, let's say you were running an ultra or even a marathon, and you even got to the later stages in the race before you had to DNF. Well, you still need time to recover from that event. So when thinking about picking up your training again, just make sure that you allow yourself enough time to fully recover from that event. My next tip is to really start focusing on the future. Sometimes I'm guilty of it too. We tend to get stuck in the past and kind of are stalled in moving forward. But I think it's important to start focusing on the future and other events you might be looking forward to, other types of training, things like that, to really shift your mindset to looking forward instead of focusing on that DNF in the past. So again, fourth tip, start thinking about the future. My last tip is to go ahead and register for another event. Now, like I said earlier, if you were training for an event that actually did take quite a bit of time out of your day or your weeks to train for, you might not be able to do that kind of training right off the bat. So I think it's important to kind of maybe look at some other options. Maybe it's a time to try something new. Maybe, like I said, after my first DNF, I started thinking about, maybe I want to go back to half marathons, which is actually my favorite distance. Maybe I want to go back to that and maybe try and get a PR or something like that, or for fun, do some events for fun, like some 5Ks or 10Ks, things like that. I just really started thinking through my options in future events. But I do think in terms of motivation, keeping yourself positive, and things like that, I think it's important to sign up for another event. So those are my 5 tips. If you have any other tips that maybe I didn't cover today, please put them down in the comments. I think runners kind of like to share their experiences, and you never know, maybe you'll find something new that you hadn't tried before, or maybe a different perspective you weren't thinking of, and perhaps that different perspective can kind of pull you out of that negative, place where you're kind of stuck in that DNF, that DNF mindset. So thank you for watching this video. If you want to see more videos like this, please click the like button, subscribe to my channel, comment down below if you have any comments to share. But most of all, I hope you all are having some great training time right now. I know summer races are coming up. Maybe you have a fall marathon that you've started training for, or whatever it may be. I wish you good luck on your training and your future events, and I will see you in the next video. Thanks. Bye-bye.